man-to-man, but there were times I had to get him man-to-man. And
favorite team that you guys love to face in your division?
Yours.
Yes, sir.
Like the games like we play against the Raiders, you might get 3 sacks. When they had Jamarcus Russell, which I did. So I got 3 sacks on them. In the first half, right?
Yeah.
And I'm ready, and they take Tommy Maddox.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to West War Room Rivals. We are coming at you with a new episode. We got Week 7 previews ahead, and we're also going to be recapping Week 6. Fellas, what's going on? What's new?
Still existing.
We all won.
Yeah, AFC West sweep. I haven't been able to say that all season, so that's been nice.
I don't even remember the last time we got to say that.
It has not been this season because even when the Raiders won Week 1, the Chiefs didn't. And I think the Broncos, you guys did, of course, in Tennessee. But yeah, this is the first week we all swept our teams. So this is a victory for the whole division.
Yeah. Good stuff.
And he has his Victory Monday shirt on.
That's right.
Finally, he gets to wear it.
Brought to you by Homage. Shout out to y'all.
Beads.
Show me your
now,
chest.
right? I just did. You didn't see it? Anyways, before we get started, you guys, we do want to give a shout out to JBW Solutions, veteran-owned, community-driven, safety focus. So we really appreciate their partnership. Jeff and the crew. I believe Matt's got the hat on, and so does Cory over there in the corner. So visit jbwsolutionsllc.com for more as we are recording this in the JBW Solutions studio. So I think have a couple of things to get started with, you guys. Thankfully, no crash out today. So what was everyone's initial thoughts from this past Week 6? Matt, what were your thoughts?
It was a very gritty Sunday for all of the West. It was very gritty. I want to say the Raiders really kind of like they toughed it out. There were a couple of times where I thought like, what was that? I want to say that the Titans, it looked like Cam Ward had thrown a fumble almost.
Right.
And the Titans recovered it, ran it back, and I'm like, yep, here we go. It's all downhill. But it turned out it was just an incomplete pass. His arm was going forward, incomplete pass, and they just kind of kept going forward after that. They really toughed it out, and eventually they got a hold of the game and kept going. And I said it last week, as far as the Chiefs go, they're going to be ready for the Lions. I mean, Andy Reid kind of already knew how the Lions were going to approach them, and they did exactly what I thought they were going to do. They were going to be ready. They knew they were going to go for it on these 4th downs, and that was that.
Pretty much.
Yeah, the Broncos. We'll get to my spiel later. I'll let the guys go. I don't want to hog up all the time, but we'll get to the Broncos later.
Yeah, Shovix, what were your thoughts on Week 6?
I thought it was nice. I was surprised that the Raiders actually pulled out a victory, but good for them. Chiefs surprised me, though. I thought it was going to be a little bit more of a shootout, but the defense really stepped up, played a big game. I kind of felt like a normal Chiefs team again for the first time in a while, from an all-around effort. No significant stupid mistakes. Kind of clean football, and it felt good. But let's be honest, the worst game of the season was Broncos and Jets, as far as just from like a watching standpoint. Some games are ugly, and then there's that game. So it's nice the Broncos came away with a win on those games, right? Because, I mean, it's already bad enough, and then if you couple that with a loss, it's just terrible. But
right.
Good week for the division. Some a little more entertaining than the others. But hopefully we can – well, I guess we can't do it this week. Raiders have to lose this week. But hopefully we can put some more weeks together where all teams win.
Yeah, hopefully. Cory, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go with – I picked every team in the AFC West last week. So obviously I knew what I was talking about.
No one wants to hear that right now. No one wants to hear that right now.
So for you guys that don't know, I believed in the Raiders when Cody didn't. And then I believed in the Chiefs when Austin didn't.
I have to pick against them.
So therefore, I don't know what else to tell you guys other than I'm good at picking, and you guys should listen.
He
more.
wakes up and
So-
pisses excellence.
I mean, every day.
It's natural, but in all honesty, I don't think that game's going to turn the Raiders season around because it gets a little rough when the Chiefs are starting to get their pieces back for this week, and we'll obviously dive into that here later. As far as the Broncos go, thank God for that defense. Nick Benito, Jonathan Cooper, I was really impressed with Hufanga and how he played. You know, that we were talking before we came on, that's a game just, you know, maybe even last year that we don't win. So we'll take the ugly ones right now. You got to get ready because you're going to have a really hungry group coming in that's playing pretty good right now in the Giants. And our boy Jackson Dart. That sucks because I like Jackson Dart, and it's going to be unfortunate that Nick Benito and Jonathan Cooper are going to have to destroy him. But, you know, it is what it is. And then the Chargers, for as beat up as they are, they happen to go up against that doo-doo hole in Miami. So stay tuned for the Crossfire. I have some fun stuff to talk about on that. So, again, good weekend for the West, even the ugly ones. So, you know, it's a big weekend for some of these teams.
It's a huge weekend. It's actually Raiders week for the Chiefs and the Broncos. And we have spoiler, we have Kamika Mitchell tomorrow. So for those that are watching, stay tuned for that. That'll be fun. I can't wait to hear. Sorry?
It's Kawika Mitchell.
Sorry, I probably mispronounced that. My bad. I'm bad with names, so.
It happens.
All good.
It does. It happens to me all the time. All right, so we're going to dive into our seggies real quick, you guys, to kind of go over week 6, and we'll head into week 7. So first up, it's not Cody's crash out because the Raiders did defeat the Titans, which thank God, because if they lost, I don't know what I would do. Probably wouldn't have showed up if I'm being honest. I had been missing any welfare checks wouldn't have gone through because I'd ignored all y'all. But anyways, Raiders pull out a victory. I don't have very many thoughts on this other than, listen, as much as I joke about, and I've posted this on our social medias of, it's the Backstreet Boys, we're back again video. And I got a little bit of some funny comments on there as well. You know, as much as I want to say the Raiders are back, I fully know that the Titans are a dumpster fire. They literally just fired their head coach the Monday after the victory. They're probably looking to add a head coach that we already talked about last week. And if I'm being honest, the Raiders win was pretty ugly. I mean, the offense, they definitely made Geno Smith not throw the ball more than like 10 yards. I think he had one long completion that was like 9 yards, and it got turned to like a 33-yard reception. And I want to say that was like to Michael Mayer, if I'm not mistaken. So it wasn't like he was, you know, going 20 yards down the field, 30 yards, challenging the defense like he was before. You can definitely tell Chip Kelly was relying on Ashton Genty a lot more. Michael Mayer being back as the starting tight end, backing up for Brock Bowers, who was out in this game. That was very important. His presence was definitely missed. This offense definitely needs a top tight end for just even blocking purposes, being open to be a safety net for Geno Smith. Unfortunately, Geno Smith still threw an interception, so he continues his streak of interceptions this season, and he leads the NFL with 10. He's the first quarterback in double digits this season. So congratulations to Geno. Can't wait to see what you do in week 7. We'll preview that a little bit later. But honestly, it's a great morale victory. I mean, nothing cures depression more than just getting a victory in the NFL. It's hard to do. And I'll circle back to the Jets nearly beat the Broncos. So it just goes to show that in the NFL, anybody can win. Fortunately, the Broncos pulled it out. And as ugly as that game was, you know, the better team prevailed. The Raiders took care of business. Now we move on to the Chiefs, and we hopefully come at it a little bit stronger and focused, but we'll definitely see. But I'm actually very excited for this Chiefs matchup, because not to say that, I don't think the Raiders will still give them their best, give the Chiefs their best, because it's the Chiefs. It's a divisional opponent. They always come up, and regardless of how poorly they play, they always try to give the Chiefs the best. Max Crosby, Patrick Mahomes is probably like the best rivalry in the AFC West. That's fun to watch. So, but it's a good victory for the Raiders. I'm glad to see it. I'm really glad that Coach, before that game, Coach Dick Vermeil, who we had on Friday night, basically said that this season is the fertilizer for the foundation. And I love that. So it's something I'm now thinking about. So I'm not nearly as on the edge as I was last week, thanks to Coach. But yeah, we're now focused on Kansas City, and I'm actually really curious to see how this game is going to play out. So we'll see.
And I think with most of the Chiefs Raiders matchups, they're close. And I think the big X factor here is Max Crosby again for the Raiders, because he can be a game wrecker, and he has had some success against the Chiefs. The downfall of that is the Chiefs defense is starting to look good when they leave Noel Williams in. Mm-hmm. And I think he kind of complements McDuffie really well. And the lack of firepower that the Raiders have is going to make this very, very difficult. If you have Brock Bowers back, I don't know if he'll be 100%, but if you have Brock Bowers back, maybe that gives you a little bit of hope. But yeah, no, the Chiefs, not only are they getting Rashee Rice back, but now they're starting to get their identity back on defense a little bit, because we saw Chris Jones just absolutely wreck shop Sunday night. He knew he messed up. He knew he messed up the game against the Jaguars. He played like it. He looked like playoff Chris Jones. Every snap, he was in the backfield immediately. Even if he wasn't completely making the tackles or getting there, he was putting the pressures when needed. So not a good ingredient for the Raiders this weekend.
Yeah. Austin, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts on Raiders week. Most of them are about destroying them, but that's fine. But it's right. It's one of those. This is still one of the few like true rivalry feel games the league has, and it's why the games are usually really close, no matter how far apart the teams are. I mean, you have a couple of the instances where, Raiders thought it would be cool to stomp on our logo and stuff, and then they came out and get destroyed. But for the most part, these games are usually close, because it is still one of those true rivalry games. As bad as the Raiders are right now, it's still going to be a good game. I do think the Chiefs are going to be able to pull away in this game. I don't think it's going to be an absolute, murder of the Raiders. They are going to take momentum from this win against the Titans, no matter how bad of, it's still a win. It's nice to just get a win. The feeling is just different. Pete's going to know how to roll with that a little bit. They'll come out looking okay, but at the end of the day, like, Chiefs are still a more talented team. We're getting pieces back. My brother mentioned Noel Williams. Dude, it's not even just if you look at his stats when he's targeted. Him coming in helps McDuffie move to slot, and that's when our defense is at the best. When he's covering the slot, come off the slot blitzes, it just changes the whole outlook of the defense. So the emergence of him has just changed a lot. So, as much as I hope this or think this is a good game, it could also be one that the Chiefs have in hand early and then kind of coast to the victory.
Yeah. We'll get more of the Chief and Raider predictions towards the end of the show. Matt, what were your thoughts on the Titans and the Raiders game, and more specifically the Titans? Because I think, they probably have hit rock bottom now this season. So what are your thoughts from the game and for the Titans?
I mean, like I said, the Raiders just kind of, it started out rocky for them. And from the very beginning, as soon as, thank God the call was reversed in your case, but
right.
it looked like, it was just going to be another week for the Raiders where, they can't get out of their own way. And, that thank God, I think after that call got reversed and the life kind of like sucked back into them, it kind of gave them a little bit more of a spark. And they just kind of, I don't know, they found the rhythm and they kept going. Now, could that be because like they're finally starting to click, or was it just because they're up against a bad Titans team that literally has no chemistry? Nothing was going right for them. Bad play calling, bad chemistry, just bad performance all around. So now it's like, take the win where you can get it. But was it because you guys were firing on all cylinders, or was it because the Titans are just tightening up all the wrong ways?
Yeah.
So initially, I mean, again, a win is a win. Take it where you can get it. But, even these small wins could spark something bigger in the future, because now, again, this is a big game coming up, and I don't want to harp too much on it because we'll probably get into our predictions later, but now you have a division rivalry game.
Mm-hmm.
And, these are always fun to watch. It's always kind of fun to watch Max Crosby get under Pat Mahomes' skin because he's very good at that. He's like that fly that just like you can't get away. So, again, this could be momentum for them to going into Sunday. So, again, take the win where you can get it, but it wasn't flawless. But hey, again, it could be the spark that you need.
Yeah, and I think again, referencing back to Friday's episode with Coach, again, another thing he said is just look at the small victories. And I look at our defense; it played well. I mean, Max Crosby did really good. You can see a lot of that defense. Devin White was phenomenal on the field. Even though it's not the greatest football team that they've gone against, it's a confidence builder. And who knows what that confidence can do and what it can snowball into and into the next game. So I'm trying to be not as pessimistic, but also just even keel like, hey, guys, it's a win against the Titans. Let's just go on to week 7 now. So anything else before we close out the Black Ops?
I will say you guys are a bad blocked field goal away. I mean, there's positives, and Coach talked a lot about the positives, last episode of, hey, don't just focus on the bad, right? When you're trying to build a culture, you can still focus on the positives. Yes, you didn't win games, but there's still good things that are coming out. Unfortunately, the bad keeps looking back right at number 7, who's, the quarterback of your team, right? It's like there's pieces, right? There's positives, there's things to build on. It's a rivalry game that's coming up. I don't think Pete's going to have to worry about trying to get some guys fired up. I think they understand what's at stake. If you want to talk about statement wins, we've seen quite a few statement wins already early on in the season. This obviously would be a big one for the Raiders, right? We talked about the Broncos before they went into Philly. Like, you can make a statement game and let everyone know that you're turning a corner, and they went into Philly and they got a dub. So like the Raiders can kind of look at it that way. And again, I'm not saying they're going to win this game, but again, there's things that you can build on and you can take into this game that you can say, hey, we can compete with these guys.
Yeah, it's a very good point. All right, guys, anything else on the game? All right, moving on to the next seggy would be Austin's aerial attack. Austin, who was your awarded defense that you liked for week 6?
I'm going to give a couple honorary ones real quick, just because I don't want them to go unnoticed. And it's going to stick with the AFC West this week. You mentioned his name, Devin White. That dude was all over the field Sunday. I mean, he had 9 total tackles. He had 1 interception. He had a sack. He had tackles for loss. I mean, the dude was flying around. This is a Devin White the league hasn't seen for a couple years. This was the Devin White that helped that defense in Tampa win a Super Bowl. Like, it's amazing. The Raiders got a steal with him, and Sunday he was all over the place. Then the next one's Noel Williams. We've mentioned him, but just a little stats to back it up. He was targeted 4 times. Yes, he allowed 3 catches, but it was only for 7 yards, and it was all against Amon-Ra St. Brown. So when you take that into consideration, he allowed 3 catches for 7 yards against one of the best receivers in the league. Not bad. But for the whole Austin's Aerial Attack Award, I think it would be hard not to just give it to Denver. They had, if you do it by number wise, they had 19 more sacks than the Jets had passing yards. I mean, so they like, I don't care how bad one team is and another team is opposite as dominant. If a team finishes with negative 10 yards, I think the entire organization should probably just close. Like, that is embarrassing to finish as a team with negative passing in a full 4-quarter game. It wasn't cut short. Like, it was a full complete game, and you finish with negative 10 yards. So Denver's defense we know is good, and we know the Jets are bad, but the Jets offense has still had some games this year with Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. Like, they've still moved the ball before. So for Denver to do what it did, I don't know what's above dominate, like what's after that, but that's what Denver did on Sunday. And I know each week I've been like, I'm not picking Denver this week because I could easily pick them there's no way you don't pick Denver this week.
Right.
There was other good defensive performances, but if you just go look at the stats, you could look at the Broncos defensive stats or the Jets offensive stats and just know how dominant Denver was. My brother mentioned earlier that their defense won that game, and it absolutely did. Like, plain and simple. The fact that they held the team to negative 10 yards and only won by 2 is actually kind of concerning when you think about it. But again, you'll take the wins. But what Denver's defense did, my brother mentioned it a few weeks ago that Cooper and Benito were the best pass rush duo in the NFL. And I threw out some other ones that I was kind of on the fence about. But there's not one better in football right now than Benito and Cooper. That's where that defense starts. That's how that defense held the team to negative 10 yards passing. And honestly, I just want to keep saying that a team had negative 10 yards passing in a football game. So I'm trying to find every way possible to say that because it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
So Denver this week, absolutely dominant. There's no way any other team, any other person could have got Austin's aerial attack this week because what Denver did it had to be historic, honestly.
Yeah. And Matt and Cory, before I get you guys in here, I do want to make a point too. We were all talking about, confidence builders and games that are like statement games. And obviously we talked about last week when the Eagles lost to the Broncos, and the way that the Broncos won is their defense really got them back in that game. And, with, Bo Nix and the run game kind of really putting it to the Eagles to really get them to overcome that game. I really feel like now week 6 was probably the best that we've seen this defense all season. And I'm now nervous for the remaining part of the season for the rest of the league, because I now feel like that was a game of confidence for the Broncos. Now, we can also agree that the Jets are probably going through a lot of woes on the offensive line and coaching, and international games are really tough to watch in general. Jets did not bring any will to play in London or wherever they played in UK or wherever it was. They didn't bring it. But the fact that the Broncos had not only 9 sacks, but 15 quarterback hits, super impressive. And I'm fearful now for the rest of the league and how this defense, if they really turn up the way that we think that they should have earlier in the season, there's going to be a lot of games where this offense doesn't have to do a whole lot, and that defense is going to win them the games. And that's scary for the rest of the league, that we probably haven't even seen the best form of the Broncos yet. So, Cory, I'll let you go ahead and touch on Austin's aerial attack choice for the Broncos.
Yeah, I'm actually going to add to that real quick, just with what you're saying. We had, Chris Hogan on earlier a month ago or whatever, but he said that their defense, they used to tell their offense to just score 17 points and the rest is theirs. I kind of feel that's where Denver's at right now. Like, hey, Sean, hey, Bo, go put up 17 to 20 points and we'll be okay. And in today's league, that's scary. Like, that was dominant when Chris Hogan was saying it and when they were playing. But now if your offense really only does need to put up 17 to 20 points to have a realistic chance to win, you're going to be a damn good team. And so I think that's where Denver's at. And I think that's the point you were making, Cody. Like, the league should be a little worried right now with Denver's defense clicking the way they are.
Right. Agreed. Cory?
Yeah. So they got Malcolm Roach back last week, and he looked really good in the game, in the parts that he was playing. I don't remember if he was on a pitch count or not, but he still looked pretty solid while he was in there. So that adds a little D-line depth. Dre Greenlaw's eligible to come off the IR. And if we can get Dre Greenlaw back now and he can play at a good, even at 80 to 90%, that's a huge boost. So I need to see Dre Greenlaw in this defense soon, because our linebackers are holding on by a thread. I think the Jets did a terrible job of trying to exploit that on some of those. But again, it's not really on the Jets when Fields is dropping back and he's getting hit. Now, a lot of that has to do with he was holding on to the ball for, I think 5-6 seconds. And that's not setting yourself up for success against this kind of defense.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that Dre Greenlaw still hasn't, presented himself to this defense yet, if he comes back, who knows? Like, this could get a lot better. I know I'm ready for it. I think he's getting closer. Now, I don't know if that's for show or if it's just them saying it, but the fact that he's getting closer, that should have Bronco fans excited. And I know that they're eager to see what he can bring, because there's plays that he's going to be able to help. He's going to be able to help cover those running backs. He's going to be able to get up there and be a run stuffer. Hufunga did a really nice job being that box guy Sunday. So, they're making plays. They're doing well. I still want to see a few other things first. And we're not going to get into the offense and what they're doing, because this is obviously a defensive segment and they deserve all the praise in the world. Nick Bonito is the defensive player of the year. You're not going to change my mind on that. I will go to bat for this guy every single week, because he is going to be the defensive player of the year, and you can mark that.
Matt?
Yeah. Before we get to the Broncos team, I do want to give kind of like my honorable mention is Quinnen Williams from the Jets. I mean, he's tormented the Broncos the last 3-4 times we played him. He blew up run plays. He just made Bo uncomfortable. So, I mean, I have to give him credit where credit is due. He's probably one of the best pass rushers, not Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper. He's one of the best pass rushers in the league. And then, Sauce Gardner, who I always thought was overrated, but he did a hell of a job covering Cortland Sutton. I think Cortland only had one catch the entire game, and that's Bo Nix's go-to target. So you can tell with the combination of Williams and Gardner, Bo kind of you can see he wasn't quite sure what to do when his number one target is taken away. But as far as the Broncos go, I mean, you look at what you got to give Vance Joseph credit, because you look back, when he first joined the team, and you're like, why again? He failed as a head coach, never had a top 10 defense. Why him? And, the Miami game, they dropped 70 points on him, and now look, they went from worst to first in 2 seasons. So Vance Joseph, hats off to him. Hell of a job with this defense. The way he prepares now, you can tell he's confident in himself, which is good. And the players believe in him. They support him, and it's showing on the field. Nick Bonito, again, I agree with Cory. There's no doubt in my mind that this man isn't going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Just his ability to get through any offense, anything you throw at him. Double, if he gets double teamed, no matter what, he fights through the block and he gets to the quarterback. And then his partner in crime, Jonathan Cooper, on the other end. The two of them it's kind of like they know what the other person's thinking, because you always see them if Nick Bonito's right there, Jonathan Cooper is not far behind. They're just so relentless, and they're so good at getting to the quarterback. There's no wonder why they're the best pass rush duo in the league. And then, again, Pat Surtain matching up with Garrett Wilson. In Garrett Wilson's career against Pat Surtain, 8 catches for 38 yards, no touchdowns. That's a stat right there. Right, that's a stat, because Garrett Wilson has 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons from his rookie year to now. 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. So, this isn't an easy task to do. 8 catches, 38 yards, no touchdowns. So this is the number 1 defense in the league. You can't change my mind about that.
So, okay, before we go to Cory's Crossfire, I do have a closeout question then for this regarding the Broncos. Is it overreaction for me to then say the Broncos defense is now here, or is it just a bad Jets team that they played? Matt, I'll let you answer that first.
I'm going to say they're here, because it's not they don't do this not just against the bad teams, but look what they did to the Eagles. How they were able to stop them. They only allowed 17 points, because now you look at other 17 points for one of the highest scoring teams. They were one of the highest scoring offenses a season ago, and they held them to 17 points. They are missing some pieces, like their interior line could use some work. Weak linebacker core, but Cory already mentioned Dre Greenlaw is scheduled to come back. And, he's known to drop back in coverage and make plays while in coverage and in the pass rush as well. So I think, honestly, this defense they found some life. They're here. The momentum is all in their favor right now. So, the only thing that's going to stop them is them. So I think they're here.
Okay. All right, Matt, let's go ahead and do your MILF report, because we've missed this the last 2 weeks because, again, you had Navy obligations. Again, thank you for being in the Navy and protecting us from danger. But now bring us back the MILF report. So what is this week's MILF report after week 6?
Real quick, just want to say yesterday was the Navy's 250th birthday. So happy birthday to all my fellow sailors out there.
Right on.
But without further ado, the MILF Report is actually going to be two teams. One, just because it's Mike Vrabel, and my mom is a Patriots fan, and my sister. This is his return to Tennessee. Look who's getting the last laugh right now, because the Pats are they're kind of clicking right now.
Yeah.
And the Titans are just spiraling. So I'm kind of anxious or curious to see how this game is going to turn out with his return in Tennessee after they just let him go. And they're not doing too good without him. But obviously, it's going to be Raiders week. It's the Chiefs and the Raiders. That's my matchup. It's so fun to watch. And I love kind of watching Max Crosby just annoy Pat Mahomes. He's like that younger brother that you just like, Mom, he won't leave me alone. And your mom is like, well, you be nice to him. He's your little brother. He looks up to you. But Max is just there to annoy Pat Mahomes. Like, that's what he lives for. And I love watching it. You know, he even did it to Bo Nix a season ago. If, Cory, you remember they can't speak up. They can't hear you. Like, that's what he does. And I think, like, the Raiders are just that annoying brother that love to annoy the big brother. So watching this matchup, it's going to be fun. So that's my matchup to watch for.
Also, too, to kind of go further on to the Patriots point, did they not have a hell of a quarterback in Drake May? I think I'm wildly surprised by the year 2 leap that he's taking. And the team that Vrabel has put around him, the offensive weapons, Drake May is already, it looks like, starting to cement himself as like in that top 15, maybe creeping into top 12 quarterbacks in the NFL right now, comfortably, I would think. Like, I would easily take Drake May over like Geno Smith. I'd easily take Drake May over like whatever quarterback the Niners roll at. I'd take him over a lot of other quarterbacks today. And now, say what you want about Josh McDaniels as a head coach, as a coordinator, he knows what he's doing and he gets the best out of his guys. It's just unfortunate he can't do it for a team and a whole. So I know that for the Broncos and Raiders, we're still feeling the effects of that. But regardless, though, I think Drake May really stepping into year 2 has really propelled this team, the Patriots being number 1 in their division over teams like the Bills. Granted, they have the same record, but they lead that division, and they did beat the Bills last week. So credit to Mike Vrabel and New England for how they came out this season and really have turned it around in such a short time.
Yeah, I'm not surprised with Drake May at all. I am surprised it's this quick. I know when we did our show way back in the day and had the draft rankings, Drake May was my number 1 guy. I didn't necessarily like the situation he was going into at the time, so I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out. But when they get Vrabel, we saw what he was able to do with Ryan Tannehill. Let's be honest, Drake May is already better than Ryan Tannehill ever was. I did expect the Patriots to be decent. I'd be lying if I said I thought they'd be in first or tied for first at any point in the season just because of the Bills. But I think this goes to show, and we've said it millions of times before, if you get your quarterback and you get your head coach, a lot of good things are possible. And that's what we're seeing right now in New England. So, yeah, spot on with Drake May and the Patriots. That's a good call out.
Mm-hmm.
Cory, your thoughts on the MILF Report?
Yeah, I almost put the Bills as my crossfire today just based on the Patriots kind of making it interesting right now, but I didn't. But for the MILF Report, yeah, I mean, again, it's hard to pick against the Raiders and Chiefs for rivalry week. Obviously, everyone knows what's at stake and the hatred's still there. I do remember when Max Crosby was yelling at Bo at the line of scrimmage. That's just how Max Crosby is, and I love it. I think the game needs more of those guys. He doesn't shy away from it, but when you play at the level he plays at, I would probably do the exact same thing. I don't care if it gets like that's what he wants. He wants it to bug you. He wants it to annoy you. And then again with Patrick, sometimes it backfires. It doesn't always work in your favor just because you have another guy who's super competitive in Patrick Mahomes who still makes plays that no other quarterback makes with less receivers. Now he's going to get his main guy back, in Rashee Rice. So, yeah. And then for the second part of that with Mike Vrabel, I'm not surprised by this at all. Mike Vrabel's a damn good coach. The players love him. The dude puts pads and helmets on, and he goes out and practices with his guys. What other coaches, you see Pete Carroll throwing the ball around with his guys. You see, John Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh, get his quarterbacks pumped up. But there's what other coaches going out there, and there's times where he's not even in shoulder pads or a helmet. He's still out there letting guys, block him. He's still taking guys down to the ground himself. Not at all one bit surprised that the Patriots are in the situation that they're in, because again, when you have a guy like Mike Vrabel who has expectations, right? Like Stephon Diggs is getting a real quick lesson on how Mike Vrabel operates, and I think Stephon Diggs loves it. And I think you're starting to see Stephon Diggs, and when Stephon Diggs is at his best, he's still a top 10 receiver, and nothing better for a young quarterback than having a guy like that. And then look at Kayshon Boutte, some of those other guys that Stephon Diggs can, mentor, get those guys on track. You already know what you're going to get out of Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper. Yeah, man, no, this isn't surprising to me at all that the Patriots are where they're at, and it's only going to go up from here. Are they going to hit a speed bump or two? Yeah, they still have a young quarterback, but Josh McDaniels is still one of the better offensive coordinators in the game, as long as he has no say in whatsoever with the team as a whole. But as a unit, he's a damn good coordinator. So, yeah, man, no one should be surprised where the Patriots are right now.
Do we think Vrabel puts it to the Titans intentionally?
Yes.
On Sunday?
100%.
I think he will. Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
Are you kidding me? He comes from the Bill Belichick tree. All they know is petty. Yes. If he doesn't put 45 up, then something's wrong.
Just call him Cobra Kai, like strike hard, strike fast, no mercy. Like
right.
That's basically what he's gonna do. So.
Yeah. And he's gonna do it in a bunch of different ways. He's gonna have Drake May just absolutely, throw it. He's gonna pound the ball. His favorite thing is to run the ball. And, they've got that young running back out of, I think it was Ohio State, Henderson. So they can easily give it to him and let him score 4 touchdowns, let Drake May throw it over the top. Friend of the show, Carl Pickens, named Stephon Diggs as one of his top 5 favorite receivers. He said when his head's in the right space, he's one of the best receivers out there on the field. And that shows, like, coming back from an ACL injury, he's looking like at minimum top 10 receiver in the league still today, coming back from an injury. So, I mean, the Pats are going to embarrass the Titans. It's only going to get worse, unfortunately. Former Chargers head coach Mike McCoy's got his work cut out for him as being the named interim coach today. So we'll see how this all shakes out.
And and you can call, because he gets it a lot. Like, you can call Stephon Diggs a diva if you want to, but at the end of the day, he still terrorizes defenses.
Yeah,
he can, and he's versatile. He can hurt you short on the short game, and he can hurt you in the long game as well. Like, he's a deep threat. You can use him in screens. You can use him in the middle of the field. It doesn't matter. Like, he's still he's a top 5 receiver. He has been since he got in the league. When he started his career in Minnesota, he was a threat in Buffalo, and he's a threat here. So, I mean, if he's healthy and he's, like Carl said, in the right mindset, he's not someone to be played with. So,
right. Ironically enough, and we'll talk about this a little later in the league recon segment, is the Bills look like they needed an alpha receiver, and they had one, and then they let him go. So just kind of the most ironic thing. What they had once, and now they got rid of it, and they're tearing up the league still. So for what that's worth.
Yeah.
All right, Cory, it's time for your seggy. It's time for Cory's Crossfire, y'all. So, Cory, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm super sad I'm going to have to waste the whole segment on the Dolphins, but here we are. We talked last week about Mike McDaniels. He's depressed. He just doesn't sound good. He's not excited. The joy, the love's not there. They kind of let one shit down their leg against the Chargers. They had it. They were in prime position for it. And then Tua comes out and starts calling for accountability. Like, your team already doesn't respect you as a quarterback. Your team already doesn't respect your head coach as a coach. You don't need to make the comments out in public. Man, like, you guys have a team player-only meeting after every game just because you lose. No one does team meetings as much. And then you're going to say guys are late. Guys don't show up to team meetings when it's a report is you were the one who, in fact, doesn't really show up on time to team meetings. Man, you got to hang it up. And I think this whole Dolphins situation, like if it weren't for the Titans and Browns, the Dolphins would be right there as the kind of joke right now. You see it. The players don't respect their coach at all. They don't respect the quarterback. How McDaniels didn't get fired this week with Brian Callahan still beyond me. Maybe it's one of those where they're like, what good does it do to fire him right now? We just, keep losing, keep hoping for that number 1 pick or top 5 pick. It is what it is at the end of the day. I do think keeping him around longer is doing more damage than good. And Tua might be done, at least in Miami. That's not to say another team won't give him a shot, but I think in Miami, Tua's done. He's been done. Obviously, the unfortunate injuries the last few seasons doesn't help, but you can't go into a press conference and start calling for accountability when you're supposed to be the leader, but no one respects you and no one follows you. 2, your coach kind of sounds off like, well, I don't know. And then the next day he says, well, he probably shouldn't have said that. Well, no shit, man. Like, yeah, he shouldn't, but he did. So now you're digging a deeper hole than you guys. I don't even know. It's rock bottom, and I don't know what's lower than rock bottom, but that's where the Dolphins are. And I don't know how it can get any worse for Mike McDaniel. I do think he would get another head coaching job. I think someone would give him a better chance because I think he's learning a lot right now. I know he wanted to be the cool coach. He wanted to do what you need to do. The Dubs are going to come. And they had a really good offense his first season. Obviously, they put up the 70 piece on Denver. It's been downhill ever since. They had the playoff game against Kansas City that year. But obviously the Chiefs shut that down. And then the Tyreek situation, the injuries, it's just been a whole downward spiral for this organization. And honestly, I wasn't surprised to see Brian Callahan fired, but I was really surprised that it wasn't too far after that McDaniels is still here, and it looks like he's still going. So Dolphin fans, I'm sorry, I guess. But at the same time, it's like, your organization really hasn't been anything for a long time. So I guess this is really nothing new.
Yeah, I want to go off onto that. Everything he said is correct, but I do want to pivot away from football a little bit. Like, truly am concerned for Mike McDaniel just as a person. Like, he honestly just doesn't look well. Like, hopefully someone somewhere is like there for him, because he honestly looks like a man who has lost everything. And like, so just beyond football, like, hope someone is just checking in on him and doing all right, because he looks defeated. But at the same time, everything my brother said is correct. I don't know how you can come to a press conference and say what Tua did. Things are supposed to stay in-house. Teams you never really hear things from. The Steelers, you don't hear outside of legal issues, things with the Chiefs, right? We don't know a whole lot of what's going on in the locker room with the Chiefs. Obviously, legal battles, you can't hide those because those happen in public. But you just don't hear things from locker rooms from those organizations who are year after year just a pretty decent organization. And there's a reason for that. So I don't even know. I think the Dolphins belong with the Titans, with the Browns. I do think they have more talent, but at the end of the day, they're so far apart as a team, as a locker room, as everything else, that like they may actually be worse off than those teams. Because I still feel like the Titans, like, they're a pretty cohesive team. They seem to be behind their quarterback, and they still have leaders like Jeffrey Simmons on that team who, they seem okay as a team. And then there's the Browns. Like, that's probably the fair comparison here for the Dolphins, because nobody understands the Browns, and there's just nobody you can laugh at more than the Browns. And right now, I'm not saying we're laughing at the Dolphins, because they really should be a good team or a better team. So it's confusing, but yeah, the Dolphins have to do something. You have to do something, right? I think I don't remember who we were talking about, but just like continuously doing the same thing and expecting different results is insanity. Like, do some kind of change, whether it's the coach, whether it's personnel, like something somewhere has to change. That way you can acknowledge that you're witnessing what's happening, because what's happening it's worse than football. Like, it's beyond me. So I think this Crossfire it's perfect. It's spot on. It's accurate. And honestly, just a little bit worrisome, because it looks like you have a head coach who, like, he really doesn't look like, you just go watch him and look at him, like something is wrong. So like there's just something has to happen for Miami, because it's downhill there.
Yeah. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation, because at the end of the day, I do like Mike McDaniel. I think he started out as a good head coach. He had good intentions with this team. He did kind of turn the team around here. But at some point down the line, you do have to give him some fault for this. And I want to say, you guys probably already know, I hate distractions in the locker room. Bringing Tyreek Hill in, I always thought that man is just a walking distraction because of his extracurricular activities off the field. All that drama follows him, and he's letting it in the locker room. When you bring that into the locker room, it throws everything off. Now, I'm not saying that's 100% on Mike McDaniel. However, Tyreek kind of came in with some of that, off-field drama, and you allowed it in there. So there's that. But you can just tell, like everyone keeps saying, like, he doesn't look well. I feel like he just doesn't know what to do. I think he realizes, like, the team, he's lost the team, and he doesn't know what to do, because now they're kind of tanking right now. I think he's a hypocrite, and Deshaun Hamilton actually called him out. He addressed his comments and was like, I remember my first 3 seconds in Miami, we had a players only meeting and he showed up late. So who the hell are you talking about? Right. So, I mean, at least he's got like one, I don't necessarily say he's in his corner, but like one person kind of saying like, hey, if you're going to call him out, call yourself out, because I remember you showing up late.
Right.
Tua, I was never sold on Tua. I don't think he was ever the guy to lead this team, and it shows. Like he's going to point the blame on his head coach. It's like, dude, what have you done? Where's your performance, man? How many picks did you throw today? 3? What's next week? 4? So again, like this whole team is just imploding. There's no stability there, and nobody knows what to do to fix it. So I am surprised that Mike is still, employed at this point, but it may be one of those things like, at this point, let him finish out the year and we'll address it in the offseason. I mean, we have seen that before, where we're all like, why is this guy still have a job? And then next thing you know, as soon as the season ends, hey, breaking news, he's fired. So it could be something like that. I do think he should be a head coach, but I can see him like getting fired, taking over as an offensive coordinator somewhere for a couple years, and then he comes into another organization that's just a mess. Because I think Mike McDaniels could turn an organization around. It's just he needs to figure out how to keep the team behind him. Like how to, I don't know how to phrase it, but like basically like keep the support of his team with him. And he just doesn't know how to do that quite yet.
I think for Mike McDaniels, what needs to happen is I think for the sake of both the Dolphins organization and for him as himself, there needs to be a parting of ways. Clearly, visually, this is a toxic relationship in general. Like he's lost the locker room. Tua is calling players out for not showing up to player only meetings when he's the one not showing up for it. And then you have Tyreek Hill, who just got injured, who literally was really their only shining, toy that they had, so to speak. And I don't want to use toy lightly. I mean, versatile player that they were using. And it's unfortunate for the knee injury he's had. And now Mike McDaniels has this to deal with. And I have a hot take here. I don't see Mike McDaniels surviving week 7. I think after the game with the Browns, and I fully expect the Browns to win, because as much as we want to harp on the Browns as an organization with how they draft and all that stuff, I still think that Kevin Stefanski is a good head coach. There's nothing that tells me that Stefanski has lost the locker room. I think that his course has run out with the Browns organization and he's due for something else. The Browns just are going to do what Browns do. But I think the Dolphins, they would probably be a better team without Mike McDaniels as constructed, just because They need a new voice. They need a new interim head coach that's going to hold guys accountable, that's going to make some of these veterans feel like they're not wasting their times. Because, like, Nick Chubb, Bradley Chubb, who we talked about last week, he's just wasting away in Miami. Can you imagine his talents on a team that could use him? Like, can you imagine if the Chiefs were to acquire Chubb and add him to that defense, or not even that, just the Patriots, the Eagles? Can you imagine what teams could utilize a player like that? Mika Fitzpatrick just got retraded back over to the Dolphins, and I still think he's a really good safety that could be productive on another team. But in Miami, like, he's a good, solid piece for that defense. But that Miami team is so broken that they need an exorcism. They need a complete liquidation fire sale to happen. I think Jalen Waddle needs to be on the trading block. I think Tua needs to be, and I think he already signed his extension, if I'm not mistaken. So you really need to take a look at, like, do we maybe trade him to a team that needs a quarterback for assets, that's willing to take on his contract, as ironically enough, as affordable as it is today, because with Dak Prescott and all these other quarterbacks are getting 50 plus million, Tua's not quite there yet. So do you look at a team that might feel like they're a quarterback away to say, hey, we got Tua here, and he's, in terms of the market, he's a little bit lower than what the market states. Are you guys willing to take him on? Because I feel like Miami, just Mike McDaniel's running it's all about the vibes and wants to be positive, which is great. But at the end of the day, you still need somebody that's going to hold guys accountable and push them to their absolute best. And you can't come into a season already like preseason hasn't even started yet, and you already sound like it's the end of the world. You can't start the season off like that. And I get it, like the drama with Tyreek Hill over the offseason, even last year when they lost in the wild card, where Tyreek is like, I'm going to get up out of here. And Mike McDaniels really didn't know how to respond to that. Like, he really almost wanted to go tit for tat for him, and he didn't. But, when you're a head coach, you have to find a way to manage and get people to buy in. And if you don't, you got to find a way to get them out. And I think the worst part about what this team has done is, I'm sure there's a lot of players that have said something to coaches and not been held accountable, or to one another. And you can just see it rippling through the field, that there's no continuity. There's no leadership. There's no one that says you will do this or else. It's just kind of like the Miami Dolphins are running themselves. And Mike McDaniels, I think, needs to be relieved of his duties for his sake and for Miami's sake. They can't continue like this for another 12 weeks. It'd be insane to witness this week after week after week. Like, I feel so sorry for every player on Miami and Mike McDaniels that they're just doing this. There needs to be ownership, or the GM of Miami needs to come in and just say, you know what, we need to break this up. It's not working. Clearly, like, there's no turning this around. This is the Titanic. There is no steering wheel. We're going straight for the iceberg. We might as well just, get off now before it's too late. So that's what I think about Miami at the moment.
Yeah, no, their GM's getting fired too. So he's out. I do like the idea of Bradley Chubb going to the Eagles and reuniting with Vic.
Chiefs.
I think the Eagles use a spark plug like that. And I think Bradley Chubb still has a lot to offer. I know the injuries have been there while he's there, but he's still a top 5 pick, even though I still think Josh Allen should have been the Broncos pick that year. But I look for Bradley Chubb if he does get moved. I think the Eagles would be the top spot for that.
They have a lot of assets that they could trade, right? Like, if they're going to do a restart, they really could. They really could set themselves up for a nice, clean restart, like with the assets that they could get with what they have.
Right.
It's handled correctly. This franchise, it could be not this year, but in a year or two, it could be corrected.
Oh no, you thought of something.
I did. And how wild would this be if they clean house in the offseason? Bill Belichick.
Oh gosh.
No.
Oh my Lord.
Now listen, here's what I'll say.
He's familiar with the division.
Here's why I say you're onto something, because of the division. It's Miami. I can see it. The reason why I say no is because I feel like Bill can't coach like he used to anymore.
Doesn't
He's
matter.
already
He would be.
The exact opposite of McDaniel.
It's not
Yeah.
just
His
it's not
girlfriend
that.
might like it.
yeah, she would love it.
I think the story that comes with it and the attention that would be on Miami at that point would yes, Miami would do that. I don't think it would be a Gruden situation. I still think Gruden's going to college, the college ranks. But yeah, no, we're talking and I'm sitting here like, holy cow, Bill Belichick. How else would Bill love this other than going to an AFC East team? You get to play the Patriots twice a season.
Vrabel twice a season.
You're probably going to get your ass beat both times, let's be honest. But
yeah.
Again,
I just, you know what, how I see North Carolina looks on the football field, and I don't know if it's a coaching thing. I just don't know how.
He's not a college coach, man.
I get it, but like,
Not a
I don't know.
Tom Brady coach.
Huh?
Mark it. October 14th.
14th.
Bill
Belichick to Miami.
Bill Belichick to Miami.
All right, Cody. If we're gonna do hot takes, here's my hot. I thought of it earlier, but I wanted to keep McDaniel's gonna get fired, right?
Yeah.
Like that's whether it's now or the end of the season. Raiders new OC next year.
You know what? It's funny you say that because I thought the same thing.
Because Chip's
And
not coming back. Like,
no.
he's
Done. He's gone. He'll probably be the OC for Miami, but he's not going to be the OC for the Raiders next season. I could see a scenario, and I actually thought the same thing you did when we were talking this, that Mike McDaniels needs to go to a place that needs an offensive coordinator.
Well,
the Raiders need to get modern. I think Mike McDaniels would help that. Now, I don't know if he'll be good, but I think that could be a potential landing spot.
Well, think about for his coaching career in general. We said he struggled to hold locker rooms and know how to be that head coach. Who better to go behind for a year or two and see? Because one thing's for sure, Pete Carroll will have his shit's in line. Right. It might look a little messy, like the product on the field, but that locker room is fine.
Mm-hmm.
So who better for him to go see for a year or two than Pete? Not only to still be an offensive coordinator where he will be good, but you also get to see one of the oldest and best coaches as far as helping your own career.
Mentoring him.
Yeah. So, I mean, it would make sense.
Y'all better get rid of Geno then.
I mean, Geno's not around for a while. Yeah.
Geno's actually, ironically, Geno's new deal, I think it's majority of the guarantee is on the first 2 years and it decreases next year. So the cap hit's not as much. So I think the Raiders had signed him with a fail-safe in place of we're giving you a 3-year, but really it's like a 1 to 2 year deal. And again, I was anticipating that this draft, they were going to draft a quarterback that was going to eventually take over. They didn't. And so now I feel like plan B would be they're probably going to find a quarterback in this draft. And again, Pete Carroll is known to make quarterback switches when needed. And I feel like next season could be when, whoever the quarterback is would start over Geno in theory. So
how about
McDaniel
this?
Brings Tua with him.
No, yeah, God, McDaniel brings Tua with him. McDaniels gets fired, goes to Vegas. Jesse Mentor, who, Cory, you already called it, he might be a head coach next season, takes over Miami. If he doesn't take Miami, he's taking Tennessee.
See, and I'm seeing John Gruden linked to Tennessee more than college.
I saw the top 5 list for the Titans. It was shit. If they make any of those hires of the list that I saw, Titans aren't going to be
and then let's not forget Mike McCarthy.
It is.
Well, let's not forget Mike McCarthy is sitting out there somewhere too, so there's an opportunity for him.
No.
I
mean, he is out.
If anyone's going to college, it's Mike McCarthy. But
I don't think that Mike McCarthy going to a head coaching spot in the NFL would be that bad. He didn't do a terrible job in Dallas. He just unfortunately had a shitty owner with Jerry Jones.
You get fired twice, you don't deserve a third chance.
Well, then explain Josh McDaniels, bud.
He's an OC right now, and that's dumbass fault for the other teams that are trying to hire him.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, McCarthy's run of riding that little success he had with Rodgers for head coaching jobs is done. The league realizes that.
Yeah. It's very interesting, you guys. We could probably do coaching carousel next week about potential coaches in certain spots because it's going to be a big swing next season. I think we had 8 new head coaches this past offseason. I think the number is between 5 and 6 this year. So it's going to look completely different. So
it's always I always enjoy it. The coaching carousels are always because we're always so far off.
Yeah. But you know what's ironic though with the coaching carousel is the teams that keep their coach usually are successful or at least like stable. It's the teams, and again, I pointed this out last week. It's like the Raiders having to change their coach every 2.5 seasons. There's never stability. Chiefs change their coach literally once every 10 years, and there's a constant, or look at the Steelers, the same coach for almost 20 years now. And they've only had 3 coaches in their 60-year time in the NFL. Like, that's stability. That's that's what teams need to really go for, not these one-hit wonders or hottest OC that's going to turn us around, and then they don't, because they don't give them more than 2 seasons to do it. So
yeah, it's always the same group of teams that we're talking about every few years. You're spot on with that,
unfortunately, and my team is one of them. So all right, guys, let's dive into League Recon. We actually had a really fun conversation with that Crossfires. That was a really deep conversation. Loved it. So League Recon, we have got, let me go back to my notes here. We've got a couple of games that we do want to point out. So Matt, I want to get your thoughts. Did you watch the Bills and Falcons game last night?
I did not watch the Bills and Falcons. I actually watched the Bears and the Commanders, which actually turned out to be a pretty interesting game. But they did have updates. They had the score on there, and that's what led my decision to watch that game because I saw it was 21-7. And Atlanta's fair. I was like, what is happening here? I was like, I'm not going to watch this game. Looks like the Bills are self-imploding. So I ended up watching the Bears and Commanders.
Okay.
But I was reading your guys' text, like, what's going on with the Bills? I was like, cool, there's my updates right there.
All right.
But I can give you recon on the Bears and Commanders if that's cool.
Shoot me. Yeah, go ahead.
The Bears just look. What was that?
Nope, he was reacting to my comment. Go ahead.
Okay. I mean, the Bears just, for some reason, it was a gritty Sunday, and they just kept fighting, and they actually clawed their way back in to victory, and even looked pretty bleak for them because the Commanders blocked a field goal, and it was going to tie the game up, and the Commanders got in there, blocked the field goal, and the momentum just kept shifting back and forth, and Jaden Daniels actually had probably one of his worst games of the year. 3 turnovers, and they were all on him. Well, not actually, no, excuse me, 4 turnovers. One, what is the running back's name? It's like a hyphenated name.
Krusty Merritt.
Yeah, that guy, Krusty Merritt, whatever his name is.
Krusty Merritt. I think they call him Bill for short.
Bill.
Yeah, Bill. Yeah, Bill. So he fumbled, but Daniels, I want to say, threw 2 picks, and then on their final drive, which ultimately sealed their fate, it was starting to rain, and I get the ball is slippery, but Daniels took the snap, and he never really had control of it, and he tried to hand it off, but dropped it before he can hand it off to Bill, and the Bears just recovered, and they just kind of milked the clock after that. It was 5 minutes left, had good field position, and they just marched down the field. So what Ben Johnson was able to do with the Bears, I mean, if you look at them a season ago to now, it's night and day. Yeah, they're not the best record, but I mean, they're fighting, and they're gonna keep fighting, and you can see them wanting to fight. There's no quit in them, and they just keep fighting. So what he's able to do, and even was it Colston Loveland? He even got involved, and he had a couple of good catches in that game. And Ben Johnson, again, just what he's able to do with tight ends. You look at Sam Laporta in Detroit. Look what he was able to do with him. And it's the same way with Colston Loveland. He's able to get everyone involved. He's able to build offenses around his QBs, and they're clicking. It's an offense that's not so complex. And Caleb Williams is clicking in that offense. He's clicking with his receivers. The Bears may not be a threat right now, but give them a couple years, and they're going to be a team that you're going to be talking about a lot.
Yeah,
I think Austin, you called Williams the first 4,000 quarterback in Bears history, right? That's what you predicted.
Yep, I did. That's and it's because of what Matt just said. Ben Johnson's really good at getting everyone involved. I think Luther Burden actually had 4 or 5 catches for like 50 or 60 yards last night. Like,
yeah.
And they were
We
all
haven't
yards
even-
like after the catch. So
yeah, and we haven't even mentioned, DJ Moore and Roma Dunze, like their top ones. Like, that's how involved everyone's getting. That's the beauty of a Ben Johnson offense. He's actually using 2 running backs. He's getting a lot out of Kyle Monangai, who I think is good anyway, but like that's also helping keep Swift on the field more. Like everything Ben Johnson does well is really it's just a perfect marriage for the Bears. How he handles the backfield, it helps keep Swift healthy. They draft Luther Burden and Colston Loveland, even though they were already they had Cole Kmet and a couple good receivers already. Well, we're going to get better because we use everyone. Like what they're doing is not a surprise. I don't think it's going to all come full circle this year. I think you're going to have games like last night for them, but they will be competitive in all their games. But it's proof that they're going in the right direction. I think it's proof that Ben Johnson and a Caleb Williams duo, there is potential there. So I like what they're doing. I just love that they're getting everyone involved. I think that's so big. It's hard to run an offense if you know the 1 or 2 people to really eliminate. But right now, like DJ Moore didn't even have much of a game, and I know it's because he kind of left early with something going on. But you still have Roma Dunze. Like he had an okay game, but like who do you take out? What do you guard? Quick pass game, run game, outside zone game, deep shot. What do we do? So yeah, no, I'm not surprised by that. As far as the Bills go, I'm honestly speechless because they don't. It's kind of what we said about the Chiefs the first few weeks. They don't look like the Bills. Their defense is, and honestly, as a defensive fan, it hurts me to even call what they have out there a defense, which is really weird for a Dougie McBuckets, a McDermott team. Right now, it's all on Josh's hands, and I think it's becoming a little too much. I think that's why you saw him struggle a little bit. And it's same thing with Patrick. When everything went to his shoulders, you struggle a little bit. Like there has to be something around you. So the Bills right now, I don't know if I want to say they're overrated, but I think we're just seeing – I think it's accurate what we're seeing because they just don't have a defense. And, when everything is on one person's shoulders, it's tough. So as far as the Bills go, like they got to figure something out because the Patriots aren't going away.
No,
you don't have that breathing room anymore. Like you got to figure it out. So it is kind of weird to see. I think their track history in the last couple of years, I believe they will, but I don't know if they're going to be able to figure it out quick enough to win the division. They might end up being a wild card team, but there is reason for concern in Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm not speechless, and I don't think the Patriots win the division. I think Josh Allen's still better than Drake May. You can watch week 1, how that defense looked against the Ravens and realize that the defense is going to be the reason the Bills don't win the Super Bowl this year and maybe an early playoff exit. But as far as the division goes, it's still Josh Allen. I still put my faith in Josh Allen over Drake May for now and James Cook and whatnot. The receiver issue might start becoming more of an issue as the season goes along. Keon Coleman's just not kind of living up to what they expected from him. Shakir's kind of, hit or miss. And you have Curtis Samuel, who hasn't been relevant for a while. But at the end of the day, I think the Bills will be fine as far as division goes. But that defense is cheeks. They're so bad. And you could see that week 1, and you knew it was going to be an issue then. Once the Ravens were able to put up, it was 41-25 at one point. And then obviously we all know what happened. Matty P, his game winner. So I'm not too concerned. They have the bye week at the right time, but they have to come out of this bye week ready because now you're facing the first adversity of the season. Now, how are you going to respond to that? You go the first couple of weeks looking like the best team in the NFL, but I think that's more of the rest of the NFL was just not kind of up there yet. Now you're starting to see teams take shape, take form that we talked about last week. It's the quarter mark of the season, still kind of preseason for a lot of guys. Now they're starting to get into rhythm, getting into grooves. Players are starting to come back from suspensions. And whatnot. So no, not concerned for the Bills. I think they'll be fine. But then on the flip side for the Bears and Commanders, I'm not surprised with the offense as much as I don't think he's fully opened up the offense yet. I still think they're showing glimpses and bits and pieces here and there for Caleb. But I still think there's so much more that this offense is going to do. And I think Ben Johnson's doing about it the right way. He's not just throwing it out there to Caleb right now. He's letting him to learn. He's giving him the progressions. They're getting everyone involved. So I'm with you, Cody, as far as I don't think it's this year. But if the Lions continue to maybe show holes against the good teams, we could be having a spicy conversation towards the end of the season between the NFC North. But I'm still going to give the reins to the Lions for now. But again, like the Patriots, I think the Bears and Patriots are kind of like, hey, we have something here. And if I'm a Bears or a Patriots fan, I'm super stoked. I'm excited. I think we have not only our head coach, but we have our quarterbacks. Now we just got to start piecing in the holes and getting some of these things cleaned up. And the future is going to be bright for both of those teams. And I think if you're a Patriots and Bears fan, you have every right to be excited and just understand that it's still a process. You still have young quarterbacks. There's going to be bumps in the road, and maybe they go right over those without any issues. We just don't know. But I like what I see out of both those teams. I truly do.
Yeah, I think just one final thought on the Bills. I think the concerning part is they let two players have almost 400 total yards of offense against them. London almost went for a 200 piece. I think Bijan had like 9,000 total yards against them.
Yeah,
to me, it roughly, give or take a couple yards. But it's concerning for me. It's Josh Allen is Josh Allen, but the Falcons are an okay team, and Bijan and Drake London are really good. But aren't those the two guys you probably would have game planned for, and they still just walked all over you? Spot on, bye week at the right time, but seeing the two people you should have game planned for literally do whatever they want against you, it's not a Doug McDermott-led defense.
Sean McDermott.
Sean McDermott. I keep saying it's college basketball season around the corner. Sean McDermott defense, but I don't know that just for some reason it has me concerned because, if it was somebody else, like if Kyle Pitts went off, I could kind of get it because you probably didn't game plan a lot for him. But it's the two dudes you probably should have game planned for, and they just walked all over you. So I hope I'm wrong because I do like Josh Allen and the Bills, but I don't know. That worries me a little more than it probably should.
Here's why for the Bills losing, and this is the second week in a row that they've lost, why I'm not concerned saying that I think that they're overrated. I think they're a good football team, no doubt. And I feel like come December, they're going to be one of the teams towards the end that's either winning the division or at least in a wild card, at least at the end, in my opinion. But here's what I'm concerned with. So far, let's just throw the Ravens game out the window right now, just because the Ravens were healthy. They had all their players in week one. Bills came back and won. That was totally a great team effort on the Bills to come back and win that game in week one. Since then, they've played the Jets, Dolphins, and the Saints. 3 of the bottom 5 teams we can argue in the NFL. And yes, they've cakewalked on them. Like each team that they played with, the teams I just named, they put 30 on them. However, when they were at home to the Patriots, who maybe a bubble wild card team, we can say, they lost. Now, granted, it was a last-second field goal, but they lost at home. I think that's important. This game in Atlanta, they lose. I'm not saying that the Falcons are a playoff team, but we've talked and we've had split decisions about we think if the Falcons are going to win the division, probably the Bucs with the record, but Falcons weren't going to come in here and roll over on anybody. And the Bills just didn't show up on Monday Night Football. And when they tried to come back in the second half, you see Josh Allen trying to play hero ball, turning it over. I feel like the Bills sometimes go into games feeling themselves a little bit too much, and they don't respect their opponent enough, and they get had. And it takes games like this for them to wake up and be like, oh, you know what? People in the NFL can actually play. And I feel like this reminds me of one of those games. And maybe it's me that always feels like the Bills team always feels like that they are the champions walking into everyone's stadium, and yet they've won nothing. So I feel like this is one of those games where they showed up and they got embarrassed. And sure, the game got a little closer, but the Falcons defense still put it on them. And to your credit, Austin, the Falcons with London and Bijan Robinson had 300 plus yards, just the two of them. The Bills defense is probably going to add some pieces by the deadline. There's a lot of teams right now that are probably going to get rid of a lot of assets to get draft picks. I feel like the Bills are going to be buyers in the market. I still think the Bills come December will be top of the East, I think. But I feel like this is a usual case of like the Bills just filling themselves in October when they shouldn't be. If they want to take care of games, and they were the first team that were favored in all 17 games, and yet they've dropped the last two when it feels like they should have taken care of business, and they just don't. Just for some reason, they just feel like, we can walk in there and just walk all over them. Now you can't. And I think what's alarming with specifically the Patriots beating them is that was at home in Buffalo. You still got to go to New England and pay the Patriots at home when they're probably playing for something, when they're probably playing for a wild card spot with a young team that's motivated by Mike Vrabel, who's coaching the team that he played for and won Super Bowls with. Like, I feel like if you want to make sure that you clinch this division, you don't give your divisional opponents any sort of hope that they can beat you. And I feel like that's what the Bills did last week. And I feel like this loss just compounds on that. And it's just not great for the Bills. And quickly, I'll transition over to the Bears and Commanders. I'm going to say I was wrong about Caleb Williams. He's going to make it. I don't think he's a bust, but I think also too, Jaden Daniels and the Commanders are probably not going to be as big as an NFC threat as I think I originally thought, because now there's film on them and teams are now playing them in a way to where they aren't just running through the league and surprising people. So I feel like the Bears are on the come up and the Commanders are probably on the stage where maybe they peaked a little too soon. So that's what I'll say on those two.
Yeah. You know, and again, with the Bills, I kind of feel like it's a tortoise and the hare situation for them, where it's like, all right, cool, we're playing this bottom feeder team, so really not too much. Like, we're just gonna go in, we're gonna do our thing. We're the Bills Mafia. Let's jump through the table and we'll call it a day. And then it's a wake up call. Well, they still haven't woken up because they just lost to two teams that they should have easily beaten. Well, I don't want to say easily beaten against the Falcons, because if you look at ESPN right now, they have them as the number one ranked defense. But, you know, I think, Cory, you brought it up earlier. Their defense is cheeks, and it's been cheeks the last couple seasons. They're not a top 10 defense. They're not. I don't even want to say they're a top 15 defense. And it's been like that, whether it's been their secondary or their run game. And even going back to their playoff game against Denver, like, that was a winnable game for Denver because of the Bills' defense. And it was just, you know, for Denver being a new team, like, and inexperienced in the playoff, it didn't work out in their favor. But imagine if Denver had gone into Buffalo and beaten Buffalo with a rookie quarterback because of the defense. So, I mean, again, like, I think, Cody, you and I kind of talked a little before the show. I think the Bills are just full of themselves when they haven't done anything. And it's time for them to realize, all right, cool, we've been humbled twice already. Let's get our asses in gear and not let it happen again. But it's still the Bills, and I can see them losing one more game that they should have won because of stupidity. So
yeah. I have a hot take question before we move on. If the Bills don't go deep into the playoffs, and I'm talking Super Bowl, do the Bills look to let go of Sean McDermott?
No.
No, I don't think so.
It's a tough one, right? Because, like, he gets them to the playoffs, but they don't get any further than the divisional round. Do you continue with that? Or do you see if you can bring in a coach that can get you over the hump?
I mean, look, you know, if the Steelers are going to keep Mike Tomlin, who hasn't won a Super Bowl since 2008, and I mean, I feel like this, but he's won one, yes, but he hasn't done. It's the same situation though. After that win, it's just been playoff appearances, missed playoff appearances. Yeah, sure, you haven't had a losing record in your entire career, but what do you have to show for other than one win that was almost 20 years ago? So,
right.
I feel like you're going to have that same situation where McDermott's just going to be the head coach for, quite a while until, hey, we found someone better. But I think you're just going to see that for a little while.
I think he gets one more year without a Super Bowl.
You
They
think
don't want
this
to waste
was-
after
Yeah.
this year.
Right. Okay.
I just, they have a chance, and it's the Bills, right? Like, they know heartbreak. I don't think they want to waste Josh Allen's entire career. So I think it's as much as they like McDermott,
Mm-hmm.
they also want to make sure they capitalize on having one of, if not the best quarterback in the league. So they can't accept this forever in Allen's career. So I think he gets this year and maybe next year. And if neither of them result in a Super Bowl, I think it really does become a serious conversation.
Okay. Corey, you got?
Yeah,
You agree?
he's going to be fine. The players still like him. He still makes questionable decisions. I will say that. But as far as there's no reason to start it over now. I mean, the only thing I could think of is they want to keep Joe Brady around, so they've maybe let McDermott go just to keep Joe Brady as the head coach, just for continuity. But that's the only scenario that I could see maybe playing out is they think this may be the year that Joe Brady gets a head coaching job. And they think, well, I think our best option to keep Josh comfortable and happy, we would just, keep him and promote him. So, but yeah, no, I'm not ready to go there yet for Sean.
Okay. All right, let's go quickly through Giants and Eagles Thursday night football. Is this more for Eagles or just overrated or not as good as we thought, or are the Giants with Dart like for real now? So, Austin, what do you think?
Look, I love Jackson Dart. I was wrong about Scatty Boo in the NFL, although I think he has a very short shelf life, just given his position and how he plays.
Mm-hmm.
Very fun to watch, but I'm not going to say they're for real. This is that stretch of Eagles that the Eagles honestly have almost every year. I think it's a little worse this year than previous years. I still think the Eagles are okay. They just have to get out of their own way. Like these last few weeks has been nothing but the Eagles just beating themselves, just creating their own drama, like letting us all see this drama, letting us all have input on this drama. That's always been the Eagles thing. It's really centered around the tush push, and then it's kind of just leaked into everything else. So yes, I love the Giants. They probably are going to be one of the more fun teams to watch, just given Dart and Scatty Boo's like energy. I'm not going to say they're for real. Their defense is good, so they could be really competitive in most of their games, but like it's still a really young offense. You're down Malik Neighbors. Like you still don't have serious playmakers on the outside, but they will be fun. So I think it's more just the Eagles are just eagling right now, and we all enjoy it. But I wouldn't look too far into it of saying like it's a good win for the Giants, but like they still have a long mountain to climb. I still think the Eagles will be fine. They're too talented. They just have to just get out of your own way. Like take care of your business in-house and you'll be okay.
Eagles will be fine. Giants, no, stop. We're not going there. But Denver better not sleep on this game because this is a team that can beat you.
Yeah.
Just because they are riding it high. But no, I'm not taking the Giants serious. Get out. Go.
Yeah, same. I'm not taking the Giants serious, but Denver special teams better come ready to play because one thing about the Giants, they are fourth most in kickoff returns, and Denver is second most in kickoff return yards allowed. So Rizzy's better get his shit together come Sunday.
I love those stats, Matt. You're not just
You're
going
welcome.
like offense versus defense. Like you're really calling out like that little thing that really could turn a game around. I love that.
Special teams is important.
It is.
It is. Absolutely right. All right. Yeah, listen, it's the Eagles are going through some woes right now. I think the Giants going 2-1 since starting is great, but they lost Malik Neighbors. This team is too young. Their offensive line is still working out some stuff because Dart is still kind of getting sacked a little bit too often, but granted, he's a running quarterback. That defense, though, looks really scary. They were really putting it on to Hurts. I feel like that is a that'll be a big unit next year. And then maybe we're talking about, how do we think the Giants are legit at that point? But it's still the Eagles. The Eagles need to figure out what's going on because I think the Denver game was a huge hit in the mouth, and then they had to do a quick turnaround on Thursday to go play another physical team. And I feel like the Eagles really need this extra mini bye week to really get back on track, and then we'll probably see it come together. But you can't play a physical team like Denver, go on the road on Thursday, and expect to come out on top the way that they were playing without really not moving the football. And Barkley had less than 12 carries or whatever. You can't play football like that and win. And that's just not Eagles football. So that's what I'll say about that. So,
yeah, before we go to predictions, I just want to make sure, my brother gave himself his flowers earlier. So I want to make sure just to touch on it that last week, Matt and I both said that the Bucs would beat the Niners by a couple scores. We got some shocked reactions from that. So Matt, I'm giving you and I our flowers before we go to our predictions that sometimes we know ball too. Okay.
Without even answering a single call.
Also, hope Fred Warner gets better. One of the best. You hate to see it.
Yeah. I didn't realize this, but the Niners have lost both Nick Bosa and Fred Warner this season. That's rough.
Well, and Kittle for most of the year, and Brandon Ayuk hasn't come back.
Brad Purdy's been out for majority of the year. Yeah.
Mac Jones is taking some hits, so
there's only 3 certainties in life, you guys: death, taxes, and the Niners injuries every year. So
yeah,
almost can book it. So, all right, guys, that was League Recon. Let's move on to the last segment, AFC West predictions for Week 7. We're going to start off with an easy one, you guys. Colts at the Chargers. Chargers are favored by 1.5. Who's got the victory? Matt, go first.
You know what? I got to go with the Colts on this one, man. I think they're just clicking right now. They've got all the momentum. Yeah, the Chargers are doing okay, and Justin Herbert. I mean, how he was able to get out of that sack and just make a play. So I'm not going to sleep on him. I don't think it's going to be a blowout game, but I don't know, something just the Colts and Jonathan Taylor. I got to go with the Colts. And Indiana Jones, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Austin.
Yeah, it's the Colts.
Of course. Why did I even ask?
Well, the Chargers did, we want to talk about injuries. The Chargers this year, I think full health, I would probably be leaning Chargers, but they had to battle with the Dolphins.
And he was sacked 4 times.
Yeah, you can't play like that against the Colts and win. So I got to go with the Colts.
All right. Cory?
You first.
I'm going to go Chargers at home. I know the Colts have a really good defense, but I feel like at SoFi, Chargers play really well, and they always find a way to win, and I feel like this is one of those games, so I'm going Chargers.
Weird. That's why your record is what it is. I'm going Colts.
Well, all right. Thank you, I guess. All right. Next game up is the Giants and the Broncos in Denver. Denver is favored by 7.5. Cory, I'll let you kick this one off. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going Broncos. I think it'll be closer than the 7.5, though.
Okay. Matt?
Yeah, I'm also going to go Broncos, but the special teams, man, they got to show up. It's going to come down to the special teams unit. So, but I'm going Broncos.
All right, Austin?
I got Broncos with a shutout victory.
Wow. I'm going to note here, shutout prediction.
Shutout alert.
I'm not going to say shutout, but I do think the Broncos, I do think Jackson Dart's going to be running for his life majority of this game, and I just don't think that's going to make great football for the Giants. And it's also in Denver. Denver is super hard to play in, not only with altitude, but they're just, when Denver plays at home, they're almost undefeated. So I'm going to go with the Broncos. So, and then of course, what week 7 prediction would be without, of course, Raider week and Chiefs week. And you guys are going to love this point spread. And the reason why I put that on here, because it made me laugh while we were recording. Raiders at Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 12.5. That's the spread. So, Austin, who do you got in this game?
This is a hard one for me, mostly because when I pick the Chiefs, they lose. But I don't know if I can pick against the Chiefs when it's the Raiders. But then if the Raiders pulling off, I'm going to feel like it's specifically my fault. I've been losing sleep on this pick.
Real quick, guys, it's Aiden's bedtime, so he's going to say goodnight to everyone.
Good night,
Say
Aiden.
night. Can you blow kisses?
Night,
There
night.
you go.
Night, night.
Night,
All right,
buddy.
there you go.
Sweet dreams.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
It's
But
overload.
I think I don't think no, you're good. I don't think I can pick against the Chiefs. I don't think I can pick the Raiders. So I'm going to pick the Chiefs, and if the Raiders pull off the upset, Chiefs Kingdom, I'm terribly sorry.
Okay, Corey.
Yeah, that's a pretty large spread there. The
what
Raiders
she
Chiefs
said.
will get spread here this week as well. So, yeah, man, it's the Chiefs. It's the
Okay.
Chiefs.
All right. Are you sure? Final answer.
Yeah, man, the Raiders Chiefs are getting spread.
Matt.
Yeah, the
Call
Raiders are
Nutella.
going to the Raiders are going to enter this game as tight ends and leave it as wide receivers. So,
Damn, you guys. We have
I mean-
sponsors that are watching right now. Relax, y'all.
And they agree.
and they agree, yeah. But I mean, the Chiefs were actually able to do really well against the run last week against the Lions. They only allowed a total of 98 yards, and the run game is really the only thing the Raiders offense actually kind of has. So I just so I just see the Chiefs just winning
Talk
this
to my
one.
crap.
So you're
Matt's
all
favorite
on the
band.
Chiefs.
What was that? What's my favorite band?
You're 98 degrees fan. Talk about 98 yards, 98 degrees. Matt was a big Nick Lachey guy.
You look just like him.
Yeah, you know,
Twins.
get that a lot. We're twinning.
So
I let
you're
him take my 6-pack.
Yeah. So you're all on the Chiefs. All right. I'm just going to go for it. It seems like a trap pick. I'm going for the Raiders. Just, we got to have some difference here, but you know,
This
dead
is
clock
why
is
you're
right. Dead clock is right twice a day. So we're just, you know, go Raiders, Raider Nations. This is the game that we turn the season around, boys. So that's what I'll say.
LOL. Everyone's laughing at you right
You said that last week.
And look what happened. We won. So
that. And you didn't even pick them to win. So
times are changing, y'all. Anyways. All right, guys. So that is it for us. Do we have anything before we close out the show?
yeah. So again, last week, Coach Dick Vermeil was on here. We had a blast. So make sure you guys go check out that episode. Tomorrow, Kawika Mitchell. He's going to come in here and talk a lot of shit on Cody, and we're here for this. I've been honestly looking forward to this for a really, really long time. Once my brother said Kawika Mitchell for Raiders Week, and just seeing Kawika Mitchell and his love for the Raiders host, this is going to be super fun. So I encourage everyone to stop in, come say hi to Kawika. We appreciate him taking time out of his busy life to chop it up with us. And here again, we're living. It's wild for us. We talk about it after every episode. We did it again Friday after Coach Vermeil got off of here with Sylvester Morris as well. So big shout out to Sylvester for joining us while he's on a homecoming trip at Jackson State. It was their homecoming. Kawika Mitchell now. We had Blaine Bishop. I mean, it's been a wild couple of weeks here for us. And we get this is our first Raiders week together as a family. So this is going to be fun.
It is going to be fun. As much as I love to, be very positive about my Raiders, I'm well aware of what's coming, but having the guests that we have tomorrow, it's going to be super fun. And I'm all for the trash talk because I know John Abraham did it. Christian Okoye did it. So I love it. I see it as a form of respect when they want to just beat up on the Raiders, just because everyone wants Raiders week. Everyone wants to go against the Raiders and beat them and play them well. And I feel like that's really cool they talk trash to me because of the Raiders, and I love it. So can't wait.
It's not a sign of respect. It's a sign of the Raiders suck.
A sign of weakness.
I love it. They don't choose the Broncos, nor do they choose the Chargers. So
Yes, they're actually competitive.
So they don't want to choose the most competitive team that they've played.
Not to hate. They
Why not?
enjoy those games. It's fun to hate. It's fun to hate the teams that suck.
Okay.
No, during these players' times, the Raiders were respectable. Like that, where it's coming from them is a sign of respect.
No, I know. That's what I was getting at. Because
I mean, even Christian.
Yeah, go ahead,
I
Matt.
would say even Christian Okoye said like some of my best friends were on the Raiders. So,
and he could have been a Raider too. He said Al Davis wanted to draft him. So a lot of
I guess
draft
except John
blunders.
Abraham.
Yeah.
He didn't play a good Raiders team because he said he got to play against Jamarcus Russell. So
Yeah,
that
was
wasn't
the
a good
dark
Raiders team.
That was the
And
dark
then he-
ages.
and then he said he would sack all of us. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Matt, you can get this. Cody, you
Matt,
can get
you-
this. It don't matter who's back there.
it don't matter who back there, you gonna get it.
Yes, sir. All right. Anything else, guys, before we go?
Take us home.
All right. Guys, thank you guys so much. I have a list of sponsors I'm going to thank right now. First and foremost, we're going to start with Field Ops Kansas. Thank you to Troy and the crew for your support. Emporia State Federal Credit Union. Thank you to Angie and the team. Shovik's Banking of Choice, and also the Banking of Choice for the War Room. Shout out to Beard Club. Austin's been killing it on the Beard Club. I don't know if you guys get the same emails where we got another referral, we got another sale. So that's that man's glorious beard. He's the one booking all the guests. So shout out to Austin and the Beard Club for their support. Shank-It Golf as well. Shoviks are huge golfers. So I know that Austin's always decked out in their gear. So look out for that on social media. And then for all of us, Matt, you're wearing the shirt. Badger Barrel. Shout out to them for the smokers they sent us. If you guys want your own smoker like what we have, visit our Instagram page. There's a link in the bio. You guys can get your smoker. And Matt, go ahead, hit us with the phrase.
All right. In a world of butterflies, be a badger.
That's right. That's it. And I love how we get to call on you for your one motto. So
It feels good, right?
yeah, right. Anyway, shout out to Badger Barrel. Also, shout out to Homage. We all have some swag from them. I'm actually wearing it under the sweater. It's a cold day today. So, but it is Raider victory. I got Monday victory. Austin got me from Homage, so I appreciate it. I'm going to wear this next episode after the Raiders beat the Chiefs. So be on the lookout for that. Gotta, if you're not making any noise, then where's the music coming from? So anyways, all right. JBW Solutions, out of the JBW Solutions studio. Thank you guys so much for supporting the War Room, veteran owned, community driven, safety focused. Jeff and the crew really appreciate their partnership, all that they do. Really looking forward to what they have for the rest of the year for everybody. If you guys want to get safety compliant for your business, for your team, go visit jbwsolutionsllc.com today. So with that being said, guys, we will see you guys tomorrow. It is going to be a big episode. Look out for it. We'll see you guys later.